A very good morning to you, Leanne, and good morning to everybody who's watching across the country and, in fact, across the continent in the various countries that this broadcast is reaching them. Yeah, we're in Sandton today, just north of Johannesburg, and this is the venue for the latest in the series of New Age business briefings brought to you by the SABC and very kindly sponsored by Transnet today, making sure that these conversations continue. And as Leanne was saying, in focus today is the Department of Social Development. Now, in recent weeks, you probably would have heard about the SASSA payments, deadlines, Concord decisions, and that dominated the headlines and the narrative in terms of the conversation around the Department of Social Development. But today we're going to try and widen that, because you may not realize it, but every single South African is actually cared for, looked for, and thought about by the Department of Social Development, because it's about social security in its entirety. At some point in your life, from the moment that you're born and the day that you retire, right through old age, there are times and moments where you need to be cared for, and the social security system should have a net to take care of you. But we'll explore all of that, and we'd like you to be part of that conversation. Hashtag TNA BizBrief, that's B-I-Z, hashtag TNA BizBrief, or at Morning Live SABC if you have a question for Minister Bathabile Dlamini or the panelists, which I'm going to introduce to you right now. But let's get the conversation going, and we'll introduce our panelists. The Minister of Social Development, the Honourable Bathabile Dlamini. Thank you very much for joining us. Always a pleasure to have you. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Peter.
Next to you, we have Brenton van Vrede, who's the Acting DDG, Comprehensive Social Security. I look forward to getting this big picture of what social security actually means, because I think we've got a narrow definition in our minds at the moment, but I look forward to that. Welcome to you. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Peter, and we look forward to having that discussion.
Okay, and next to you we have Warwick Metcalf, and he's helping the department come up with technological business solutions to develop a payment system that's already quite good, I believe, Warwick, but you'll tell us more about that. A very warm welcome to you.
Thanks, Peter. Yes.
And next to you we have Tim Sukazi, who you might have seen a few times being interviewed on TV, trying to bring clarity to some of the questions that are being raised. Always good to have you, and we look forward to also more legal wisdom from you during our conversation. Tim Sukazi, welcome to you.
Thank you so much, Peter, and I'm looking forward to a fruitful discussion. Great.
All right, Minister, let's start with you. And I know that it's been a really difficult time for your department, and perhaps even you personally, for some time now, given the social security payments story as it unfolded. But this is a big picture, and perhaps you can start by giving us your idea and thoughts about what a beneficiary-centered system is all about, and how improving economic development where beneficiaries live, that is your big agenda. Take us through that. Take us in your confidence.
Thank you very much, Peter, and good morning, and good morning to the viewers. Let me greet Mohsin and the New Age people, our Deputy Minister, Henrietta Bukopane Zulu, our Acting Director General, Ms. Nelisiwe Vilagazi, our CEO of SASSA, Mr. Thokozani Magwaza, and the officials from SASSA, our CEO from NDA. I'm happy to see you today, Tamo. It's good you are with us today. Members of the panel, leaders and representatives of business, as well as the social and economic sector. I also want to greet Alizwa Mazosiwe, who said she wants to be here today and hear what we will be talking about. There she is.
There we
Yes.
go. The young person there at the table. Okay.
I think it would be unfair if we don't recognize the work that was done by government, from the president to the cabinet colleagues, and secondly, our officials, social development, SASA, there they are seated, as well as NDA, the police, provincial governments, local government, and other volunteers who ensured that we delivered on our promise, Peter. And also what is important is that, again, South Africans have done what they are good at: solidarity and ubuntu. And that has to be congratulated. And we must try and ensure that we work towards that. Now, it's also important for me to say that before we came to the ministry, there was a committee that was established by Minister Mlewa that just looked at the issues that were worrying communities. After that committee, we formed an advisory committee. And then the advisory committee gave us a report, and then we formed work streams. And the work streams report to SASA. And SASA implements what work streams have come up with, because what they do is to look for or ensure that whatever we do is tried and tested, empirical evidence, look at other countries, how are they performing. And then also at SASA, you have officials working closely with each work stream. I think they are not all here. For IT and banking, there is Mr. Mahlangu. For human resource development, there is Do. For strategy, there is Rapashe. For grant-related issues, you have Diane. There are other officials that are not here that work closely with the work streams. But also what we should know is that the capacity at SASA made it difficult for us to say, after the advisory committee, here was SASA, take over, this is what you have to do. I thought I should address that first. But there are new elements that we have already brought into the system through comprehensive social security. We've already gazetted paper on burial schemes and savings for children, because the child support grant goes up to 18. Already we are done with that. So one other important element that we are bringing on board is the element of people-centered pension payout system. We're saying that we should go where our people are. We should work with cooperatives. Many women have been launching cooperative or banks that are cooperatives, and we have to work with them. Stokvels, we have to work with them so as to ensure that whenever there is something that comes from government, it is used positively to change the quality of lives of our people. But also it's important for us to understand that this comes from the Constitution, Section 27. It is the right of our people. And the ANC has a history of standing and fighting for the rights. You look at the African Claims Charter, which came from the Atlantic Charter. There we are very clear about social security. The Harare Declaration, also there, we are very clear. The Freedom Charter, we are also very clear there. So it's not like this is something we came up with today. It has been there long ago. Even the Women's Charter is very clear on housing, security, and comfort. And when you talk about security, you talk about social security, social solidarity, where those that are rich support the poor through taxes. Because even when the ANC was formed, already our leadership was forward-looking. And our leadership knew that we had to do something very extraordinary to try and ensure that the ordinary South Africans, the poor, are taken into consideration. We ensure that our children go to school, electricity, water, because this is not about grants only. Grants are just a part of a bigger picture.
And it's a bigger picture we'll explore in greater detail. We have to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll meet the other panelists as well. But I think that's a good introduction to much of the conversation that we're going to be having. You too can be part of it. Hashtag TNA BizBrief, that's B-I-Z, hashtag TNA BizBrief at Morning Live SABC if you have a question or a thought you'd like to share. We'll see you right after this.